helps to unmute us. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Team Netcode channel. I am Josh Gerlach here with Kate Higday tonight. No Blake Walker, like we talked about last night. Blake had some work stuff to do, tisk. But he will be back with me tomorrow and Thursday. And then, Kate, I believe you're going to be back with me on Friday. And all three of us will be here on Saturday. Just wrapped up one hell of a prelim night at the 40th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals. Before we dive into that, though, make sure that you hit the like button, hit subscribe, please. Helps us get in front of more people. Had a lot of response from last night's show, which was really cool, so appreciate everybody sharing and liking that. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. This will go on our audio feeds as well, so make sure you drop 5 stars on whatever podcast platform that you prefer as well. Like I said, Tuesday night at the Chili Bowl kind of was one of those nights where it didn't feel like we had a clear-cut favorite. I know I picked Ryan Timms. You had Michael Pickens, and Landon Brooks for Blake. You, Cade, you were not off to a very good start from pretty much lap 3/4.
Yeah, I was screwed from the get-go. I had no shot after that.
Yeah, he tipped her over in his heat race. I think he tipped her over again in one of the sub mains, D main, whatever. We'll get to that though. So, was a great night of racing though. We really had a banger there at the A main, which we will get to. We'll kind of just do what we did last night, speed run through most of the results, hit on some of the big topics that came up. Cade, like Blake and I last night, just jump in if you got something as we do our speed running. Track did have some juice tonight. Did kind of get giddy up there for a little bit, but I think by the end of that feature, I kind of probably wish that we would have had that for most of the feature. But again, we will get to that. Heat 1 winner, we saw one. Actually, he was the biggest mover of all the heat race winners. Parker Price Miller went 6-1. Kaylee Bryson was another big name coming into tonight that's had a lot of success. Unfortunately for her, she only made it 3 corners before she made contact with Kyle Bauman and went tipped over when they were battling for the lead. She did recover to finish 6th. Caden Brown went 2-1 in heat race number 2. My pick, Ryan Timms, won heat 3 from the pole. New Zealander Ben Kovic, he went for one hell of a corkscrew ride in the 3rd heat. I think he ended up coming back out for one of the D mains later. So it's good to see him okay and be able to get back out there, because that was not what you want to see. We can pause for just a second because it looked like he got way up over the cushion, Cade, and then was just in it, and it didn't work out very well. What's that feeling like?
It's hopeless for sure. But like the way the track was, it was just kind of one of those things where, like you said, once he got over it, he was stuck and it really didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the juiced up piece early on in the race. That's why I think last night we touched on it, where we didn't see Kyle Larson go flipping over, and he very well could have done that in his heat race too. Yeah. Heat 4, Max Adam was another pole winner. He took the win from first. Your pick, Michael Pickens, wasn't good. Went up on the bike in 3 and 4, then he cartwheeled. Had a good view of that from the Flow Racing onboard camera. Unfortunately for that, it went for a ride after he stopped. But early storyline of the night was JJ Yaley. The old guy got up on the wheel. He went 9th to 5th. He was up to 3rd, made a bobble, but settled in for 5th. That set him up really well for his qualifier later on in the night.
That was a hell of a ride for Pickens too. That was like the cushion wasn't even remotely up the racetrack really, and it just set him up on the bike and said, "See you later."
And what's worse, like, I know he was cartwheeling. Is that bad? I know you're kind of going side to side, but it really sat down hard on the nose.
The nose was the worst part. The cartwheels aren't really what gets you, because you're kind of just spinning. It's when you land hard and you just suddenly stop. That's when it doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, and you could see it kind of jolted him a little bit, but luckily he was in good spirits afterwards, and like we said, he got back out there, and unfortunately that was not the end of his tumbles for the night. Heat 6 winner, again from the pole, Blake Hahn. Zach Weigel, also from the pole, he won Heat 7. Hank Davis, Heat 8, he went from 3rd to 1st. And then Luke Stork rounded out the heat races. Another pole sitter got the win. There was a 3-car pileup on the initial start. Trent Dixon got a right rear, sent old Beeson season for a tumble. Ended his heat race. Not the end of his night, far from it. Drake Troutman was also out there, got collected, but he was able to continue. After the heat races concluded, Ty Gibbs was the high point man, which was pretty damn cool. I was in the group chat with you and Blake, and he is someone that has really impressed me. What have you seen out of him that maybe you could attribute some of his success, not only at Tulsa, but just kind of acclimating to the dirt cars a little bit better?
I honestly don't even really know what to say about it, aside from the fact that he's just a natural talent. Like these things are not easy to drive. I've never personally driven one, but everybody you hear talk about them, they're a handful and a half, and he just makes it look like it's no problem.
Yeah, and it was interesting to that point also. Corey Day was on the Lumberland or the Lumber Lounge show with Snow and Shane Stewart today, and listening to him kind of compare the two. And like you were just saying there, you always hear kind of how darty the midgets are and just kind of all over the place. It's the exact opposite of like probably what he's used to in the NASCAR, especially Cup. So someone that maybe we can pull some strings. Maybe we get Ty on here sometime to talk about that, or even just hear him expand a little bit on what maybe he struggled with, or things that have helped him acclimate it. This is also a very good point that I was about to call out too. He's looked really good at the shootout and caught some bad luck a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what class it was in, but he was making a charge there through the soup and got spun around by somebody, and it ended his week. But yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. Hopefully we can keep him on the dirt. See him at maybe some more high limit races or something like that, because mad respect for people that get out of their comfort zone and do something that they're not used to.
It sounded like one of the interviews from the shootout. That was kind of his plan: do some more dirt racing and come to the right side of the world.
That's right. There were rumors last year that he may have been potentially in a 360 for 360 Nationals. So maybe we can get that to the finish line and actually get it done. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Before we dive into the sub mains, also had another comment here. The shows that they've been putting on here lately. I mean, we're live. We've been live for about 10 minutes and not even at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. So hats off to the track crew. Can't give them enough praise this week for keeping things moving along and giving a good racing surface as well. All right, moving into the sub mains, D mains. Brenham Crouch, that was another one we didn't touch on from the heat races. He had a really good run. I believe he was second in his prelim feature last year. People just didn't get off to a good start for him tonight in his heat. Ended up in the D main. He transferred with Jace Park out of D main 1. And Cade's pick again, Michael Pickens. He looped it, battling for the lead. Ended up finishing 3rd, so he will probably be in like a queue or something. He'll be racing early on Saturday morning, that is for sure. And then Jonathan Beeson, we're going to talk about him quite a bit here. Story of the night, I'd say. He went 3rd to 1st, along with Ethan Mitchell, Team DGRD driver. Cool seeing those guys down there with Dennis Gainey putting that car out there. They also announced with DGRD a huge schedule for Caleb Johnson, by the way. I think he's over 120 races this year. I gave Caleb some shit asking that he couldn't, put a couple extra races on that light schedule. I'm always gonna have to find some time to race on there. But that's a lot of racing, man.
Yeah.
3rd of the year. All right, C main 1. Kaylee Bryson took the win. Kevin Bayer, Garrett Williamson, and Ty Wilkie were the transfers. Chance Morton caught Kaylee. He was trying to rip around the outside, just misjudged it, and he ended up taking a pretty wicked tumble as well. Yep. Like you said before, Kate, I know you haven't raced a midget or raced it at Tulsa, but I know you've run some micros and some outlaw carts. How easy is that to do, especially in those kind of tight confines?
Oh, super easy. I'm honestly surprised it doesn't happen every time they're on the racetrack, because I mean the cars are so darty that you make one little minor adjustment on the steering wheel and you're going 35 degrees a different direction from where you started at.
And how much of the front tires do you even see? not at
None.
all. Yeah.
None.
So trying to judge that. And I know Chance is pretty experienced, as is Kaylee, but like you get a lot of these guys, to your point, like you don't know where you have to find where the corners of your car are.
Mhm.
And like I am also surprised that we don't see that more often, because it is such a tight confines, and they're going pretty quick around that place.
Yeah.
Had a heck of a battle at the end of the race for the final transfer. Like we said, Ty Wilkie did end up picking that up. Ethan Mitchell, he and Jonathan Beeson transferred once again. Beeson went 9-2. Kyle Bauman and Devin Camfield rounded out the top 4 transfers from the second C main. Beeson also spun early on in the race there, fell all the way back, and seeing him get back up to second, that's when you kind of knew that he's on a mission. He was even telling Flo that didn't feel like the car was right. Sounds like it may have just been a new car and just a new feel for him, which, hey, I don't know. I've never driven him, so he's very experienced around there. He'd be the guy to know if that was the case.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a hell of a soup run that, unfortunately, as I'm sure you're about to say, was cut short.
Yeah. It was interesting. We will definitely get to the Ethan Mitchell. Had some choice words there at the end of his interview. After that C main, though, we went into the qualifiers. Top 40 in points, made 4 qualifiers. Unfortunately for our buddy Garrett Williamson, he actually tied for 40th and lost the tiebreaker. So may have changed his night quite a bit. Don't know. We'll never know. But top 5 in the first qualifier was our guy Ryan Timms. Corbin Ruschenberg went 4-2. Chase Randall, Kyle Jones, and Ty Gibbs rounded out the top 5 in that first qualifier. In the second qualifier, Blake Hahn won. JJ Yaley went 7-2. He was ripping tonight. Adam Trimble, Jordan Kinzer, 10-4. He was also moving. And Parker Price Miller, who spun on the initial start out of the 6th position and was able to rally to 5th and kind of save some points. Tough night for Dalton England. He broke, I believe, lap 3, running for 3rd. And then I think he went to go later in the night and couldn't get going. So
Yeah.
Clinton Boyles was talking on the Flow broadcast, that kind of thinking out loud that maybe that could have been an electrical issue or something like that. Never saw a report to see if they ever got it diagnosed, but tough break for Dalton. Qualifier number 3, we had Zach Dom, went 3-1. That would end up putting him on the pole for the feature. JJ Yaley, who I just said went 7-2 in the second qualifier, that was good enough to put him on the outside pole. So a little throwback action there. We had Zach Dom and JJ Yaley on the front row of the feature. Had to check the calendar to see what year it was. That was pretty cool to see. Caden Brown finished behind Zach for second in the third qualifier, followed by Hank Davis, Zach Weigel, and Sheldon Creed, who went 9-5. And then RTJ, Ricky Thornton Jr., he took the win in qualifier 4, followed by Landon Brooks. Jet Barnes, another story from tonight, he went 5-3. Luke Storer and Gunnar Setzer completed the top 5 in the last qualifier. Pretty run-of-the-mill, I felt like, in those. There were some movers, but otherwise kind of felt like guys were a little calculated, making sure they didn't tear anything up before short break for the Bs and then getting right back out there for the A.
Yeah, honestly, I know he's a wheelman, but I did not have RTJ winning that qualifier on my bingo card with Brooks,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah, and I mean, they were good. Landon was kind of hunting him down there. And yeah, it's cool to see Ricky. I mean, that dude is not scared to get in any car. I was joking earlier that he'd, probably race a bicycle up and down the street here if somebody offered it to him. So
For sure.
cool to have someone like that. And he's got a busy week too. So it's cool to see him always showing up at Tulsa. So that led us to the B mains. First one, we had a pretty decent race. Kaylee Bryson, she started at the back after her heat race troubles, DC run, and was a couple spots out of the transfer when she was pounding the top, kind of got squeezed into the outside fence coming down the front stretch, cut the right rear down, and that pretty much ended her night. Zach Weigel took the win. Jordan Kinzer, another name who we've talked about, was passing a lot of cars early on in the night, Brandon Carr, and then another guy that passed a lot of cars, Justin Zimmerman. He went 11-4 to grab the final transfer.
Yeah, with the Bryson deal, I mean, it's one of those. I'm pretty sure she was either fifth or sixth, just a couple spots out, and I mean, it was one of those that you kind of had to be a hero and try to make it, and it just didn't quite play out.
Yeah, it's the standard quote. It's the Chili Bowl. Like,
yep.
You got to send it, and sometimes you have to try to fill holes that maybe are never going to be open for you. And
yeah,
shit happens. So tough luck for her. She had a rough shootout also, where we're used to seeing her kind of tear it up there, and same in the midget also, and just couldn't really catch a break tonight. So we'll see what she's able to do come Saturday. Second B main, Sheldon Creed took the win. Jonathan freaking Beeson, man. He went 14-2 and was charging. I think if he had a few more laps, he probably would have ran Sheldon down and took that win. Max Adams and Gavin Bochelle rounded out the transfers from the second B main. The race was interesting. Connor Lee had a moment on the initial start, spun down the track and just collected a whole bunch of guys. Ethan Mitchell, Kyle Bauman, and Zoe Pierce were a few of them. Did knock Devin Camfield out of the race as well. Ethan Mitchell was able to continue along with I think everybody except for Devin.
Yep.
However, Ethan Mitchell did not finish the race. He got cleaned out by Troy Betts. I don't think there's really any debate about that. Lap 10, just pretty much sent a slider in there like nobody was outside. And Ethan had some choice words after a pretty calm start to his post-crash interview. Had some choice words for Mr. Betts.
Yeah, dude, that interview started off so calm, and I'm like, either he's going to keep his shit together or he's just going to let it rip. And he didn't really let it rip, but he definitely threw the right amount of shade, I think.
Oh, he did. He threw a shout out to our boy Yorkie. He was texting us, threw a Yorkieism out there is what I like to call it.
Did.
So we're not afraid of swearing, but go check out the video. It's it will do itself justice. It'll do better justice than we can do it for it. But yeah, we're full on Beeson season. He ran the full soup tonight, went D to C to B. He locked it into the feature. Where did he start? He started 20th tonight. We'll get to where he finished here in just a second. Not surprising at all. That dude, we've seen what he can do. I don't even know how many drillers he's won at this point. He was definitely one of the names that I was paying attention to throughout the A main.
Yeah, for sure. And I was glad that he finally had some things go his way, because the start of the night was just shit for him.
Yeah, and that's where, I mean, I know you've had nights like that too, where you could feel like you're doing everything right, and you just pull the short straw every single time. Eventually, it does break your way, and especially when you have the experience to know what you need to do and go out and do it. And that's what he did. So wasn't terribly surprising to see him make that charge. But again, there is a lot of luck that's involved in racing in general, but especially at a place like Chili Bowl where you have so many guys that are hunting for so few spots, especially on a prelim night.
That goes with experience too, just to kind of have him keep his composure like that and not get flustered by it. Because I mean, that's a pretty high pressure moment when I don't even think he made a lap in the heat race, did he?
No,
did he even make it to the start finish line?
No, he didn't. No, he got crashed out of 4 on the initial start. So
that's frustrating. And then, I mean, you got to fix your car, and you got to go drive your ass off for 3 mains
from the back of every race from there on out too. Yeah, it's the mental side. I mean, we've talked about it with pretty much every driver, including yourself, that we've had on the show over the last year. And I mean, you can really screw yourself out of a race or out of a week in this case, just by not being in the right mindset. So, no surprise. Crowd was coming alive. I'd be very surprised and shocked if that wasn't the case. So, we will speak of Jonathan Beeson again here shortly. We're obligated to bring him up in every race, it feels like. But what do you think of before we dive into the A main? What do you think of the track up until the A main fired off? As far as the track state, we'll come back what we saw at the end of it. But what do you think going into the A main after what you had seen from everything else?
It was kind of different. I mean, the heat races didn't really, aside from a couple guys just kind of standing out, it didn't really produce all that great a racing, I didn't think. And then it was like every single race after the heat races, it just got a little bit better. And they got it a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say the same thing. Like it was good enough even in the first race. Like I know that there was some yellows and stuff and that happens. I mean, that's just Chili Bowl too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the biggest mover out of the heat races came in the first heat race, which
Yep.
was PPM. So it seemed like it was, good enough that if you needed to make moves early on, you could. I am very curious to see how it holds up throughout the rest of the week. I know a big change that they've talked about on the broadcast this week is that they got rid of the push trucks and have gone to the side by sides. Uh, we've been hearing guys talk about how it's ledging up a little bit more, and you can even see kind of as the night progresses on. Clinton Boyles has talked about it too, that if you don't go up and run that top side in, kind of dries out instead of moving a curb up the track. Curious to see how that shapes up the rest of this week, and then also just with so many laps on Saturday, if the changes that they've made with the packing of it, and then any other prep changes that they've made. In my opinion, I'd rather it be a little on the heavy side because you don't have to worry about rubber if it's super heavy.
I was about to say that too. I personally feel like you're going to see a lot more of what we saw tonight. Just them trying to preserve the racetrack for the 55 on Saturday. I mean, that's a shitload of laps with 24 cars on it, and that's hard to make right.
Yeah, especially after a very, very full day of racing. So they know what they're doing
before that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they know what they're doing, and I mean, there's so much racing going on, and my brain can only hold so much. It's tough to think back to how the tracks were previous years, but I've been pleased with what we've seen so far, and hopefully they can keep it up. All right, Maine. We had a parking lot on lap 3, unfortunately. A couple of the guys that we've had on here, Chase Randall, he tagged RTJ and collected a third of the field, basically. Himself, RTJ, Jonathan Beeson, Sheldon Creed were just a few of the 8 cars that were involved. I believe everybody was able to roll after that, and not a great way to start a feature, of course, but it was pretty much everybody that was at the back anyway. So being that early, probably a little fired up, I would imagine, from getting into something like that. But you have 30 laps that you can get after it and make up some lost time. Unfortunately, Cade for my pick, Ryan Timms. Jet Barnes had a moment on lap 9. He ramped up over the berm on coming out of turn 4. Timms had nowhere to go and ended up stalling it. Parked up top. He did recover. He had started 6th. He did get back up to 11th, so kind of salvaged his night. We've been live here, so I haven't been able to go back and look and see kind of what the point situation is looking like. But Ryan's probably not very happy about that. Not much you can do in his particular situation because you don't want to just run someone over and really end your night from there. But kind of one of those what could have been nights for him after winning every other race that he had been on so far.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely had a great night brewing, and like you said, it was smarter of him to just kind of stop and not run him completely over. And you said it perfectly, salvage his night as much as he could anyway. I mean, that's just a tough situation. I'm sure he's mad, and
yeah,
but what the hell do you do? I mean, it's close quarters racing, and there's a lot going on. Just kind of drew the short stick, I feel like, on that one.
Yeah, and I mean, you're before halfway, so it's like, it is what it is. On that yellow, it was also seen that JJ Yaley had his left rear tire going down, so he was able to continue. He did finish the race, but pretty much from that point, if I can recall, he was third, fourth, I think.
Yeah.
That definitely seemed to affect his car from there on out because he pretty much faded for the rest of the evening. He did end up dropping back to 10th from 2nd, so not the feature that he was looking for after really wheeling his ass off the first part of the night. Let's see, on lap 11, Hank Davis took the lead from Zach Dahm. Made it look pretty damn easy. He just, Zach was hooking the bottom, looked really strong. And then as we, have seen in years past, like a snap of your finger, the track moved from the bottom and you had to get up to the top. Dahm didn't do that in time, and Hank was up there ripping. He made it look easy. Just drove right around him, jumped to the bottom to kind of cut him off, and seemed like he might check out and take another prelim night win. But then all of a sudden, here comes that 52 car. Blake Hahn was ripping it up top, and he took the lead from Hank on lap 25 and checked out. May have thought that was that from there on, and not so fast, my friend, as old Lee Corso would say. What do you think when Blake took the lead there with 5 to go?
That was pretty shocking, but was more shocking was how aggressively, like, he didn't do anything dirty, but like how much of a statement that Jesus, I just lost my total train of thought. When Hank Davis drove around Dom, that was with some authority. And that was directly after we were just saying, like, Dom's not getting beat tonight.
Yeah.
Then the whole mood of the deal just changed.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had texted you that, like, Zach's car, it was so hooked up and it was rolling around the bottom so well. And then, like you mentioned, out of nowhere, here comes Hank, drives right around him. And yeah, I did not see that coming that quickly. But then, Blake took the lead on 25 and looked like that might be it. But as we know, lap traffic is pretty much always a factor when it comes to Expo Raceway, and it sure played a factor at the end of the race. Did seem like Dom kind of dropped the anchor. It seemed like another case. Maybe the car was just a little too good to start the race, and he also faded back a little bit, held on to 4th. So not a bad race at all, or a bad finish rather, at all for him. That'll put him in the B main on Saturday. But another case of, what could have been. We saw it with Cannon McIntosh last night. I assume that Zach's probably pretty much in the same boat. You're in a Saturday lock-in spot for so long and you lose it with a handful of laps to go.
Yeah, that definitely stings, especially after leading like that. And I mean, it was legit one yellow. I feel like had that race stayed green, he probably would have just checked out and won. But
yeah,
we know how the Expo Center works. You'll get one yellow and everything changes because people go up and pack the top in, or nobody does it and it doesn't work.
Wear the bottom out.
Yeah. The place does weird things. I've never understood how it does it just from 3 laps of wheel packing, but it does.
It's so fast. Like 3 laps. I mean, it can change under a yellow flag period, which is, I'm sure, very frustrating from in the seat of the car. I know some of these guys do have adjusters and stuff to kind of work on it a little bit, but man, you got to stay up on it. And you got to be ready for anything.
Yep.
Speaking of surprises and standout performances, 14-year-old Jet Barnes, holy cow, was he was moving, man. That it blows my mind. With a handful of laps, he ripped around Zach Dom, and the car control and the kind of just the racecraft that these younger and younger kids are showing. It doesn't hurt at all to have one of the GOATs around the Expo Raceway, Kevin Swindell, in your corner and driver coaching you. And it's paying off because we're going to be hearing the name Jet Barnes for a long time. And shit, he's not even 16 years old yet.
Yeah, what they say was 14.
He's 14. Yeah,
that's insane. The way that he could switch from just putting around the bottom to going out and hauling balls around the top. I mean, that's hard enough to do for somebody that's been racing for 10 or 15 years in a midget. He just hops in it and says, "Hell with it, let's go."
Yeah, and it's a true testament to that car that he's got underneath him, because like I said, Kevin knows how to get around that place. He has won his fair share of drillers, including, I don't even remember how many in a row. So really cool story to see. It's going to be fun to watch him come Saturday.
Yeah.
As we were talking about just a little bit ago, lap traffic, just when we thought that it was Blake Hahn's night, that he was just going to ride off into the sunset, last 2.5 laps.
Yeah.
He got into lap traffic and Hank Davis was right on his ass. He held him off for most of the last handful of laps, and then kind of got balled up a little bit. Here comes Hank on the bottom, and it was a wheel-to-wheel, damn near photo finish. Blake holds him off, finally gets a prelim victory at the Chili Bowl after having plenty of success in the Tulsa shootout. Hank locks himself in as well, finishing second. Jet Barnes held on for third, Zach Dom fourth, and Landon Brooks finished 5th. That was the best out of our 3 picks. So congratulations, Blake. You take tonight. Coming for you tomorrow night. Damn it. We were in here, and I said it to Blake last night. It's interesting and fun getting to watch races because we never get to watch races and talk about it together. So it was fun watching that with you. I think we both thought that Hank was going to steal that one off of 4.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he even said it in his interview. He was like, I think the only reason that we didn't get him is because I was kind of being a bitch.
His words.
Yep. That's tough though, because I mean, you're in a lock-in spot for Saturday. You don't really want to throw it completely out the window, but you want to win the prelim night too. But I mean, I'm sure the whole way down that backstretch, he was trying to debate how hard he wanted to drive it in there, and I think he made the right choice by not wiping both of them out for one, or hitting Blake in the left rear and spinning himself out and just totally killing his night too.
That's exactly right. I feel like you have a lot less to gain on the bottom there because, like you were saying, if you could do that, run into Blake, or you have lap cars, you don't really know what they're going to do. Send it in too hard, miss the bottom, you get in the slick, spin it out, charge it too hard on the berm, you ramp it up like we saw Jet early in the race, and really fun feature, man. Like we were talking a little bit before we jumped on, the rest of the night was a little tame here and there. There's a lot more torn up stuff tonight, which hate to see that. Hopefully we can keep it a little bit cleaner next few nights, but overall really fun night. What did you think of the way that the racetrack developed? I know we talked about it, how it was going into the feature. How do you think it developed and where it ended up?
I honestly wish it would have, like where it ended up, I wish that track state would have came a little bit sooner.
Yeah, about halfway maybe.
Yeah, that'd have been about ideal. But still, I mean, we talked about it earlier. You got to kind of try to preserve the racetrack for Saturday and all the prelim nights to come. I mean, there's a lot of track work that's going to go on between now and A main time come Saturday. So even if they quote unquote missed it a little bit for tonight, we're still going to have a hell of a week with all the prelim nights left, and obviously a full day on Saturday.
For sure. I'm totally with you. Hopefully, like you said, if that's a bad night or even an off night, I would take that, the rest of the week. Anytime you get the line shifting around, I mean, that's all you can really ask for in dirt racing. So, when it's locked down on one line or, ripping the top or something like that, you can't pass. So then you get into the situations where it's just dive bombs and, slide or die type stuff, and can be interesting or entertaining for us fans, but I'm sure it's not much fun to race like that. And that's how we sometimes see some people get escorted out the doors at the old expo center. So
yeah.
Any other thoughts or takeaways? I'm looking through the how dare I? Jonathan Beeson, the man that came from the D main. He did start 20th. He ended up going +8, finished 12th, but he was not anywhere close to the biggest mover. Gavin Bochelle went 24th to 8. Hell of a run for him. Definite up and down night for him. A lot more movers than we saw last night. I think that we only had a couple guys that were above, a +5. So I think that echoes the track state, discussion that we just had. If we could have 3 more nights like this for prelims, I would absolutely take it.
I feel like tonight was a lot more drama filled too. Like you just said with Gavin, it was an up and down night. He found himself in trouble a couple times. So I feel like that kind of bruised up the big runs from the back to the mid to front of the prelim A's.
For sure. All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it for us tonight. I saw, we had some more comments tonight. It looks like we have a pretty decent live audience. It's a little bit earlier than we were able to do last night. So we will be back once again. It will be me and Blake tomorrow and Thursday, and then Kate and I will be back on Friday, and again, all 3 of us on Saturday to recap the full week. So make sure that you are subscribed at Team Netcode on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all podcast platforms, at Team Netcode on all social media platforms. I'm at Josh_Gerlach on Twitter or X. He's at Kate Higday. Blake is also at Blake_Walker8. I have not heard of any top of the ramp drama yet.
Me either.
Have you seen anything?
No.
Might have to shoot a text to our buddy Blake Anderson and see if anything's been brewing up there. It seems like no hurt feelings yet. The week is still young. So
Very young.
like I said, we will be back here tomorrow night. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you later. Have a good night, guys.